everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Was there something weird in the beginning of this video? Did you guys happen to notice that? It was probably nothing, don't worry about it. I don't know if you guys saw it. Maybe I'll see it when I'm editing, but I've been seeing a lot of people smiling lately. It is Christmas time, so maybe everybody's just really happy and jolly, you know? No, but in all seriousness, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Shay. I make videos about horror movies, horror media, horror content. I'm having my first gaming review next month. Hopefully, I'm working on it and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, I do content about horror movies, horror media, video games, TV shows, and theme parks because I live in Central Florida and I feel like it would be a crime not to. If you aren't new here, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I know we're getting close to Christmas and it is kind of weird. For some reason, this seems to be the month that they decided to drop like all of the horror movies that I've missed on streaming services, which is crazy. So I had a lot to catch up on. I didn't do a review about Alien Romulus. Just a quick note, I did like that movie. I just didn't do a review about it because I watched it like almost a month ago now, and my brain is really foggy on it. Like I remember enough about this movie we're going to talk about today, Smile 2, even though I watched it a few weeks ago, but for some reason my brain is foggy on Alien Romulus. But I really liked it, thought it was great. 4 out of 5 skulls from me. And if you liked it, let me know in the comments how you feel. But today we are going to talk about Smile 2. And I just have to say that, you know, this movie was not one that really needed a sequel, but I'm actually not mad that we got one because I actually think the sequel is better than the original, but we will come back around and get to it. Before we get into this review, I have a favor to ask you guys. If you could like, subscribe, leave a comment, mostly leave a comment for engagement, and let me know if you liked what you saw today. That's the only way I can know, is if you leave a comment for engagement. Then I'll know, hey, you actually liked what you saw and you want to see more content like this. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping at the end of this video. We have 2 more videos, this one and one more for 2024, but we'll get to that. And I'll add a little bit of housekeeping at the end of this one and a little bit of housekeeping at the end of the other one. So without further ado, let's sit back, relax, pop on some Sky Riley, and get into this creepy critique. Alright, so Smile 2 came out in theaters on October 18th, 2024, and right now it is currently streaming on Paramount Plus. You can actually watch both the original Smile and Smile 2 on Paramount Plus. Yeah, so go watch them. If you haven't seen the first one, probably, I mean, I don't really feel like you need to watch the first one to understand the second one. It's just like a curse where people are smiling. It was directed by Parker Finn, who is the original creator of the Smile lore and the original monster, and the original director and writer of the first movie. And it stars Naomi Scott, who, if you don't know her, she was Princess Jasmine in the live-action Aladdin remake, or what I know her from, the really awesome Power Rangers movie that came out in 2017 that all of y'all review bombed and we never got that sequel, so you have to live with that decision. I don't. Lucas Gage, who is in a lot of other, like, I think he's in like The White Lotus and some other shows. I've never really seen him in anything, but he's in this as well. And then Rosemary DeWitt. The critical reception is kind of mixed. I feel like IMDb this year has been really weird. Like, a lot of people are rating things really low. Same thing with like Letterboxd. Like, Letterboxd, almost every single movie I look at is like a 3 rating. Like, everybody just feels everything's mid this year, and I don't think that. But anyways, so on IMDb, Smile 2 got a 6.9 out of 10, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it got an 86%, which is not bad. So here's the synopsis for Smile 2. About to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins to experience increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, she must face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. That's a redundant sentence, but I didn't write the synopsis. This time you cannot blame me for that redundant sentence. All right, so before we get into Smile 2, I just kind of want to like touch on my feelings of Smile 1. First of all, just off the top, I really don't like movies or characters that smile. Like, I don't know. I like smiling in and of itself is not a bad thing or a creepy thing, but it's like when it's used in a horror sense, it is really, really creepy to me. And this movie definitely played on it for me. The first movie, so the bad thing about the first movie, and I want to make a video about this in the future. I say this all the time and I don't do it, but we're gonna leave that. We're leaving this in 2024 and 2025. When I say I'm gonna make a video about something, I'm gonna make a video about it. Don't worry, it's coming. But I was gonna talk about trailers and especially horror movie trailers and how they give away too much. The first Smile movie is a great example, and I believe Smile 2, I only saw the trailer once, so I don't really remember it. Smile is a great example of how horror movie marketing tends to go over the top by trying to shove every little last scare in the movie to get you frightened for what they've got coming. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think less is more in horror movie trailers. I can understand wanting to know what you're getting into when you go see like a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie. But with horror, I think the less you see, the better, unless you're barbarian, which I'm going to save that for my rant about movie trailers. We're going to leave that. But I definitely think the less you see, the better of a horror movie. And the original Smile movie did not deliver on that. I thought the concept of the Smile movie was scary, like the people smiling part of it. I thought that was scary, but every time I opened TikTok or like Instagram back when this first movie was coming out, I was bombarded with ads for this movie, and I would see the same scares over and over again. The part with the bent neck lady with her head just doing a whole 180 down to her navel, I saw that so many times. It still freaks me out. I still don't like it, because the idea of someone breaking their whole like spinal cord to smile at you just doesn't sit right with me. Like, why are they breaking their spinal cord to do that? But even still, I knew exactly when it was coming when I sat down to watch this in theaters. So much so that I actually said to my friend who I was watching it with, "Oh, I know what part's coming up. She's going to break her neck." And my friend was like, "Okay." And then when it happened, I still jumped because I still hated everything about that. And she was like, "You still jumped?" I was like, "Yeah, but I knew it was coming." Like, I had chance to like gear myself up. I was like, "Okay, I'm going to put my jacket up here so I can kind of like hide behind it, you know?" And I didn't like that. You know, my biggest critique of the first Smile movie was all the best parts of the movie you pretty much saw, all the best scary moments you pretty much saw in the trailer. And I'm pretty sure Smile 2 is probably no different, but I only saw the trailer once because I don't really go on social media all that often. You would be able to tell that if you went to find my other social media accounts and realize that I barely use them. So I didn't see like on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook a lot of Smile ads. And oftentimes when I would scroll through Facebook and I would see the Smile ad, I would just scroll past it. I saw one trailer and that was all I needed to see. The only thing I knew about Smile 2 going into watching Smile 2 was that it was about a pop star who gets the curse. And I saw a couple scares. The only one that stuck out to me was the scare with the dancers, which even still was such a small part of the actual scare that it didn't bother me as much. I'm sorry, I had to mute my computer because I got a notification from Instagram. Mac, what are you doing? Why are you showing me my phone notifications? Anyways, but yeah, no, I remember that because I remember thinking it looked funny or like going, ew, because they're all like, like, I remember thinking that was the only part I remembered when I was watching the movie. But even still, there was so much more to that part, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on before we get into the good and the bad of Smile 2. I tailored myself so I didn't see too much of the Smile 2 trailer, because Smile 1 was just ruined for me by the trailer. All right, we're going to move into the good things, the things I liked about this movie, because I liked this movie. Anyways, the first thing I liked about this movie was that it was a lot more story driven and there was a lot less jump scares. If one thing you didn't like about Smile one or the first Smile movie was that it was a jump scare fest. You'll be very pleased to know that Smile 2 dials that back a lot. It dials that back by, I would say, like at least 60%. There are a few good jump scare moments in there, but overall, it's mostly focused on the fractured psyche of Sky Riley, our pop star in the movie, and it's mostly focused on how, like, I guess you could say how her descent into madness. Oh, it's a Shuri. There's my cat. She's like perfect height to be in the frame. Hi, Shuri. Say hi, everybody. She's been on one today because I've been cleaning in preparation for Christmas time. Anyways, so yeah, no, the thing I really liked was that this was a lot more focused on the story. It was a lot more focused on the character, what she had going on, her descent into madness, to let you feel for her. And on that note, when you also felt for her, they really did a great job. And one of my biggest praises of this movie, they did a really good job making Sky Riley feel like a real pop star. Even down, like, I saw a few clips. I will say the one thing I did see a lot on TikTok was a lot of behind the scenes notes. What I did see was that Naomi Scott had a hand in writing some of the songs for Sky Riley, that they actually had like a choreographer, I want to make sure I say that right, choreographer on set that helped her, helped all of them like come up with the dance routines and like perform like a pop star. It was super, super immersive, and I'm not gonna lie, the songs are actually kind of bangers. At least I really like a New Brain and Blood on White Satin, although I can't listen to Blood on White Satin without thinking about the jump scare that happens in the movie. It kind of ruins the song for me a little bit, because I'll get to the part where she says, the second time where she says might be a tragedy, and I'll just hear like the jump scare noise. It's a really good, I will say that jump scare, one of the best jump scares in the whole movie. And I love it because I do not remember that from the trailer. From what I saw, it might have been in the trailer. I could be wrong. But it's basically a part where Sky is rehearsing for her tour, for her opening night of her tour, and she's singing the song. And they do almost the entire song. Like, it's literally like they do like the whole first verse, the whole first chorus, then the second verse. Like, they do the first verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, then the second verse, then it's in the second pre-chorus that the jump scare happens. But yeah, it's a really solid like jump scare moment, because literally you're like focused in on the song, you're listening to the song, you're watching them dance like it's a real performance, and then all of a sudden they hit you with this nasty jump scare, and it just takes you like, it reminds you that you're watching a horror movie all of a sudden. Sorry, I have no idea what my cat's doing back there. I just hear her crunching on things a lot, making sure she's not eating something she's not supposed to. She's not, but okay. But yeah, no, like that part really, really just got me like so good. I was like, oh my god, they like really came in clutch with that jump scare. That was a good one. So yeah, it's one of the best jump scares in the movie, is that Blood on White Satin. But the song itself is actually really good. They're all on Spotify. I don't know if they're on Apple Music or, I'm sure they're on YouTube. But yeah, they're all on Spotify. I personally just like, I love New Brain. It gets stuck in my head all the time. It's just such a good song. And I love how the songs kind of show off how messed up that Sky Riley is too. For a little bit of lore, honestly, I don't really like to go too deep, except for like my last video, I went deeper with like the plot of the movie. So Sky Riley is a pop star who is recovering from an addiction, and she is trying to get her career back after a really bad crash out, basically, with an actual car crash, which claimed the life of her boyfriend, who was an actor. So she's trying to reclaim her life and get back on track, but then she ends up contracting the smile demon. So they did a really good job with making you feel like Sky was a real person, and like there was real world consequences for what she was doing. Like, I don't know if this is just a testament to Naomi Scott's acting. I don't really know much about Naomi Scott as like a performer, aside from her amazing turn in both Lemonade Mouth. She was also in Lemonade Mouth. I just remembered she was in Lemonade Mouth, which she sang in that. She was a pop star in that too. So if you've never seen Lemonade Mouth, it is a trip of a movie, by the way. It is so funny. So yeah, aside from Lemonade Mouth and Power Rangers, I've never really seen her in a lot of stuff. I haven't really seen her in a lot of stuff. So I didn't know what to expect going into this movie. And I don't know if this is a testament to who she is as an actress or if this is just the writing in the movie, but her downward spiral felt so much more realistic than the first movie, the original movie. Well, I kind of like the angle of Susie Bacon's character in the original movie being like a psychiatrist who catches this virus, this smiling demon, and it affects her life. And considering that she comes from a line of people with mental health issues, it ends up like affecting her career and affecting her life. I kind of like this angle where you saw this train wreck pop star, quote unquote train wreck pop star, who has considerably lost everything in her life. And basically, this is her last shot to win the public back over before it's curtains for her career, quite literally. And we're just watching her undo all of that because of her psychotic break, essentially, when she, I not to trivialize it, but that's essentially what it is in Smile 2. And it felt so much more real. Like the awkwardness of the charity scene, like the awkwardness of that scene is so palpable. Like the whole entire scene, she believes the teleprompter is broken, so she can't read her lines to, say what music means to her. So she starts just kind of going off and talking about how much she actually hates doing what she does, essentially. It just goes on this whole long tangent about how she really doesn't like doing what she does, until she realizes that the entire time the teleprompter has been going. And the teleprompter's going. And then at the end of all of that, after she's basically spilled her guts about how much she hates her career, she spilled her guts about how much she hates being a pop star and she doesn't want to do this anymore, and she realizes that the Smile Demon's been screwing with her and the teleprompter's still going, they put her boyfriend's name, who died in a car crash, on the teleprompter, and then she sees her dead boyfriend. And that's the only scene I remember like fully from the trailer, aside from the one with the dancers, where she's screaming at him as he's walking up on stage, smiling at her, and she's screaming at him, "You're not real, you're not real." So like that whole scene just felt very palpable, very like, so again, I don't know if it's a testament to her as an actress or a testament to the writing, but like you could really feel the heaviness of that downward spiral with her. And also the fight scene between her and her boyfriend that was actually real, like in the car, like, that was rough to watch. So a big criticism, and I'm going to talk about this in like the things I don't like about this movie. A big criticism about this movie is its subject matter. I've seen quite a few people, call into question why the method of execution has to be self-deletion. That's the best way I can put it. And while I think that while I can understand where people are coming from, especially people who have experienced those thoughts and people who have maybe even lost somebody or attempted at self-deletion, I can understand why that might affect them and why they might not necessarily enjoy this film as much as other people might. I do think this movie handled it better than the previous movie did. In my personal opinion, I don't feel that way. As somebody who understands mental health, I think the reason why this movie doesn't bother me is because the ways that people are deleting are not really ways that people would normally do the deleting. Like, smashing a weight in your face is not really the first thing you think of when you're thinking of doing something like that to yourself. You're not thinking about picking up a giant weight and just like smacking it into your face multiple times till you no longer have skin. There's another one in this movie that I believe that we see where somebody rips their own jaw off. Again, I don't know people who actively, when they're thinking about self-deleting, are doing that. I would argue that the movie, even though I love it, it's one of my favorite J-horror movies, the movie Pulse is a lot worse than this movie as far as handling that subject matter, because the ways that people self-delete in that movie are ways that people actually self-delete in real life. It's real stuff, and it's dark and it's brutal and it's hard to watch. Like, that's one of those movies that I have to be in a really good headspace to watch, because if not, and I do love that movie. I do think it's one of the best J-horror movies, and it has one of the scariest scenes of all time. Um, in that film, in my opinion, one of the scariest scenes in any horror movie, with the ghost in the hallway. That scene still freaks me out to this day, and I still like look away from the screen a little bit when it's happening, because it's just such a tense and uncomfortable scene. But this movie, again, I can understand if you're one of those people that you're like, I hate the Smile series, I hate the Smile franchise, I don't know why it exists, why are we glorifying deleting yourself? Um, I respect that. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling negatively towards this film franchise for those reasons. However, I would argue that it's not glorifying it, because the ways in which people are doing these things to themselves are not really ways that people who are actively idealizing that type of thing are going to consider doing that. Again, I've never known, from the people I've spoken to who have experienced those thoughts, I've never known not any one of them to think a great method of execution would be to grab a free weight and just smack myself in the face with it. You know, and I'm not trying to trivialize that, but I'm just being like, that's a little bit extreme, and I don't think many people think to that level, or even like, I'm gonna rip my own jaw off. That would be cool. Like, I don't know. I think that's a different topic that you'd have to discuss with that person. But I do think this movie handled it a lot better, because it didn't dwell on that fact of things. It didn't dwell on that fact of things. And in fact, the first death that we see in the movie isn't necessarily, it's not necessarily on purpose. You know, it's kind of accidental, so it's not necessarily on purpose. That's Kyle Gallner's character getting oofed by a car, basically, as he runs away from some people who were trying to attack him, because he broke into their he broke into their headquarters, if you catch my drift, you know. So yeah, he broke into their headquarters, and then as he was running for them, he got oofed by a car. So yeah, again, I respect if you feel that way. I just personally didn't see it that way when I watched this movie. So um yeah. And the last thing I'm going to touch on is kind of weird, and I'm going to hate myself for doing this. Future me, I'm so sorry, but if you can find a clip of the end credits song, I know you can, because it's everywhere right now on TikTok, but if you can find a clip of the end credits song and insert it after this part, I'm sorry in advance, future me, that you're going to have to do this, because I know how much you hate this, because I am you. So take a listen to this for like 2 seconds, and then I'll explain what it is and why I hate it so much. Sorry again, future me. Okay, so now that future me is officially cursing my name right now, and probably wanting to rip her eardrums out, let me explain what that is. I didn't know what this is, and honestly, because I don't usually watch, like, listen, unless it's a Marvel movie, I stay until the end credits. You have to tell me that there's something at the end credits that I need to be looking out for in order for me to stay to the end credits. I probably would not have known that this song existed, this track, this beat existed, if it was not for TikTok. I was scrolling through TikTok one day, minding my own business, and I got to this video of this guy cleaning a theater after Smile 2, or at least mimicking that he was cleaning a theater after Smile 2, and he was playing that song. And he said, and he captioned the video, "The reason I hate cleaning the theater after Smile 2." And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah, so basically what that song is they're in the scene, during the scene where Sky and her boyfriend Paul get into the car accident that she causes, but that's a different story. After she realizes that he is deceased, and she realizes that A, her leg is broken, and B, the way they're pinned, she can't get out, she starts to cry. And what you hear in this song are her cries, not only they're basically being remixed to make it sound like she's laughing. And it gets worse. I'm only playing the first few seconds of it, like the first few, like the beginning. I'm not playing the whole thing, obviously, because I'm sure that's copyrighted. But I'm only playing the first few seconds of it, but it actually gets worse, where it actually, the cries start to go in reverse, like full in reverse, where so she, instead of her like wailing like the like you hear, and she's going ha 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 ha, and it's so creepy. So if you want to go listen to that whole thing and kind of feel like you're losing your mind a little bit, I will leave the link in the description. You can go listen to that, torture yourselves with that. I heard it enough on TikTok, and I'm sure now that I've spoken about it, I'm going to hear it again on TikTok if I open TikTok. I know the app is getting banned, but like, it can't come soon enough for me, because I'm so tired of, I'm like, my algorithm is tailored to me, and unfortunately, no matter how many times I keep telling them I don't want to hear this song because it freaks me out so bad, they keep playing it. I'll be scrolling through looking at some nice TikToks about like Interview with the Vampire, or some nice TikToks about Stray Kids, and all of a sudden here's that I'm like, no, I'm like, scroll like as fast as possible, especially when it's late at night and I'm just mindlessly scrolling and minding my business, and then I hear that freaking song start. I'm like, I understand. I get you, ushers at movie theaters, because if it were me, I would not want to be in. I would be like, anybody else want to clean the Smile 2 theater? I don't want to clean that theater. I'm so good. You guys clean the theater. I'm going to go clean the bathrooms. I will clean the bathrooms if it means I don't have to clean the Smile 2 theater, cuz that scares the crap out of me. That scares me more than anything in the movie. That part, that song. And purposefully, when I watched it in like on Paramount Plus, I started watching the end credits, you know, and I don't think it plays till like the very end of the end credits. I don't know. It started, the end credits came on. I was like, cool, I'm shutting this off now immediately. It's done. I'm shutting it off. But yeah, no, I literally shut Paramount Plus off. Like, I got out of the app. I was like, I don't even want to chance it. I don't know if it happens after this little song that they're playing right now, or if it's not till like the very, very end of the movie. I don't want to know. And I know people think it sounds goofy. I know, I've seen the comments on TikTok. Oh, it's so stupid. I don't know why you guys find this scary. Everybody finds different things scary. For me, that sounds like a mental breakdown when I hear it. That sounds like your brain just melting when I hear it. And I don't like that. I don't like the way it sounds. It freaks me out. It doesn't scratch an itch. It makes me really uncomfortable. I did see a very cool video of a girl dancing to it, and it was really creepy and really cool. So if you see that on like somewhere, I mean, like, pop off. But yeah, that's it for the good things. I'm letting that one be part of the good things, because to have something that's that creepy, no, like, you win. Like, out of everything I've watched this year, that's one thing that I didn't even see in the movie, I saw on TikTok, is the only thing that I think has actually genuinely freaked me out to the point where I'm like, yeah, I would be so cool if I just never heard that again. And unfortunately, when I'm filming this now, I have not edited it, obviously. I'm gonna have to listen to it. I'm gonna have to find it and listen to it so you guys can hear it. You're welcome. Okay? You're welcome. Anyways, I'm so dramatic. I'm sorry. It's a Monday. Let's talk about some bad things. There's not too many with this movie, even though, like, this movie isn't, like, my favorite movie of this year. There's not too many, because I think this movie was pretty decent. I didn't have high expectations for it, and it didn't disappoint me in any way, shape, or form. But the first thing, honestly, like, the two things, like, the first things I guess could be combined as one. We don't get enough expansion on the lore. I mean, I know in the first movie they tried to expand on the lore somewhat, but we really don't get enough lore expansion for my taste. And because of that, we don't really know what this curse is, and we don't really understand it fully. And there's also the problem of, you know, because of the fact that this curse affects reality and bends reality and changes things so often, we don't really know what's real and what's not until it's presented to us in certain ways. Like, it took me a long time to understand what was going on in certain parts of this movie. To know what was Sky's brain tripping out on her, and what was, you know, actually happening to her. What was something she actually, like, was experiencing. Like, one example was the room being trashed. She goes back after her meltdown when she has the jump scare during Blood and White Satin. She goes back to her dressing room to calm herself down. And as she walks to the dressing room, her assistant comes out of the dressing room and he's smiling at her and he walks by. And then she goes into the dressing room and the dressing room is trashed. And it took me a while to be like, the dressing room is trashed? Like, wait, what? And then at one point it didn't look trashed, but then it cut to another scene and it was trashed. So I was like, what, wait, what's real? Am I just stupid? I could just be stupid, but like, it's hard to know what's real, so it would be nice if we had a little bit of lore, and I know they tried to give some lore in the first movie, but they didn't really get very far with that. The other part is that Sky kind of sucks at times. I believe the character in the first movie's name is Rose, and I remember I actually felt really bad for Rose throughout the movie. I actually really liked Rose, and I felt mad because everyone was trying to equate Rose to her mother, who had self-deleted, and basically try to say like, oh, well, you're just going by way of your mom. You're just going by way of your mom, which is crazy because she went from being this acclaimed psychiatrist to suddenly like having a nervous breakdown, which nobody understood why. And she was scared, and everyone around her was like, well, it's because your mom did what she did to herself. So you're obviously the same way. You've developed whatever she developed. And like for me, like I said, throughout the entire movie, I felt really bad for Rose and I really wanted her to succeed. So in the ending of the first Smile movie, when she didn't succeed, it was a lot more gut wrenching for me. Whereas Sky kind of sucked. Like as much as I will say this, as much as I love Sky Riley, she is a diva, she is a queen. She really sucked as a person. and I do sympathize with Sky to an extent because it's very obvious that while she might have wanted to become a performer, while she might have wanted to be a singer, she is now being forced into this role that she doesn't really want to play anymore, and the pressure has gotten to her and she's cracked. But when I heard what she said to her best friend and how she treated her best friend who was there for her, when I saw the way she treated her staff and the people she was around, she very much like, yes, you can sympathize with the fact that she's a recovering, addict. You can sympathize with the fact that she probably does not want to be there. She's had enough. She's checked out. You can sympathize with those factors. At the same time, it's kind of like, girl, I understand why this curse came after you because you are a hot mess. Even to her fans, she seemed like she wasn't all that interested. I don't know, man. I just really got this sense that Sky Riley was a bit of a spoiled brat. She was a bit of a spoiled brat. And personally, for me, it made it hard at times for me to sympathize for her. And it even made it hard in the end for me to really feel sad about what happened to her. I was just kind of like, damn, that sucks. And it wasn't the same as like with Rose, where I was like, man, I was really hoping she was going to beat this thing. I was really hoping, because to me, watching Rose go from somebody who had a handle on her mental health, who was breaking the generational curses and was finally in a lot of ways conquering her trauma, to see her succumb to it and give in at the end, that made me really sad. But Sky, I was kind of like, yeah, well, I expected this to happen. I expected her to I did expect her to fail, and fail she did. So, yeah, she kind of sucks sometimes, but I mean, I still like Sky Riley. She's still a queen. Her music still slaps. I would go see her in concert if she was a real artist. Naomi Scott album when? I'll go see Naomi Scott in concert. She's a great singer. She deserves it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about as bad things is not really a bad thing to me, and I mentioned it in the first section, but I'm going to mention it again here because I want to kind of dive into why people think it's a bad thing. And it's the subject matter. Anytime, I think anytime you tackle the topic of mental health in a horror movie, anytime you tackle the topic of people harming themselves or mental health in the movie, it's such a thin line that you walk between, I guess you can say, I don't want to say glamorizing. Glamorizing and satirizing is not the words I'm looking for. I guess what you could say is you walk a fine line between understanding the problem and offering a solution, villainizing. That's the word I'm looking. And weaponizing and villainizing things that people deal with every single day. It's kind of the reason why I believe a lot of modern horror movies are trying to move away from using things like asylums and quote unquote crazy people. I don't like using that terminology in that sense. Like, I don't mind saying some things like when I say something's crazy, oftentimes I mean that it's wild. I try to say it's wild. I try not to say crazy because I understand the connotations behind it. But that's the best way I could put it, is like they would villainize mental health. And I've seen a lot of arguments about the Smile series about how it villainizes mental health, how it villainizes people who are suffering with mental illness. And I completely understand where those conversations are coming from, and I think that those conversations are important to have. I think in the context of what we're seeing on screen and what we're seeing in the film, I don't find that it's necessarily I don't find that it's necessarily villainizing mental health. I feel like the smile demon driving people to delete themselves in order to continue to pass this curse along, it's a means to of survival for that entity. That's why I kind of wish we knew more about it, because I feel like it would justify the means. It would justify the actions of these characters a lot. Um, would it make it more palatable for people who don't like it? Probably not. For being completely honest, I don't think this type of film will ever be palatable for people who've already decided that it's not a film that makes them comfortable. Do I think this film shouldn't exist? Do I think that it harms people's, like, it harms them, like, people with bad mental health, or harms? No. I feel like we've kind of gotten to a point where you can be uncomfortable with something, and I completely understand why people are uncomfortable with Smile. But I look at it like, if you put Smile and 13 Reasons Why in a room and told me which one do I think is more harmful for someone's mental health, I'm picking 13 Reasons Why, not Smile. I think Smile can be seen separated from the act of deletion, where you can watch the movie and say, okay, what they're doing in this movie is not an accurate depiction of what people who have I'm not going to say what it actually is because YouTube doesn't like the word, but SI feelings, like the from people who suffer from that. It's not how people actually go about it. It is a curse. The demon is trying to break their will down so that it can possess them and then make them, I almost think of it like a demonic possession movie in a lot of ways, but without the like back cracking and crawling on the ceiling and projectile vomiting. It's really just, I'm gonna break your will down, I'm gonna wear you down, then I will possess you. And then what this particular demon does is it possesses you, and it causes you to then pass it on to the next person. Let's pass that on to the on the platter. And that's why I don't necessarily feel like this movie is trivializing self-deletion. I hate having to call it those names because I don't like giving things like this cutesy names, but YouTube doesn't like the real word, okay? So I have to give it a cutesy name. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I don't think it trivializes it, and I don't think it makes a mockery of it, and I don't think it glamorizes it, I don't think it satirizes it, I don't think it villainizes it. I think what it does is it's a method of possession. And if somebody barfing on another person could be a method of possession, if somebody, picking up an artifact and looking at it and it opening can be a method of possession, if a face hugger jumping on your face could be a method of possession, I don't know. If something can be a method of possession, then why can't this weird worm-looking demon be a method of possession, and the way this demon makes you act at the end of your life be a method of possession? Why is that something that is taboo? Again, if it personally for you, it's just too much to watch people doing that to themselves, that's completely fine and completely valid. I do not want to seem like I'm invalidating someone's feelings of disdain, but when we talk about like, oh, well, this movie shouldn't exist because it's trivializing mental health, it's not, because the movie's not about mental health. It's not about people's mental health. Like I said, the methods of execution are not stuff that people really do in real life when they want to do something like that. And on top of that, they are like this is not while the movie does focus on mental health, it focuses on mental deterioration. It's no different than watching a movie where there's a character that's getting actively possessed by a demon and you're watching them freak out. I mean, like, if that's the case, if you don't like Smile, then you shouldn't like The Conjuring, because The Conjuring shows you someone's mental state breaking down as a demon is actively possessing them. So again, where does the line get drawn? Is it just because we go into self-deletion that we're like, whoa, 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 we can't do that, we have to stop right there? Would you rather see the back cracking and the head spinning and the projectile vomiting? To me, it's an interesting way to categorize. I mean, this isn't necessarily a demonic possession movie per se, even though the monster is called the Smile Demon. It's not religious. It's not like in your face. There's no priest standing there with a Bible and a bottle of holy water. It's more. I feel more like there's a character in this movie that describes this thing like a virus. And I feel like that's more what it is. It's like a virus. It's like you sneeze and somebody gets sick. You cough and somebody next to you gets sick. And it's kind of the same thing. You smile and somebody gets sick.
Am I really smiling right now? Or is this just in your head?
But yeah, no. I mean, like, overall, like, I understand people's criticisms about this movie and people's disgust towards this movie, but I do think that this is not the same as, like, again, Pulse. And this is me saying this as somebody who loves the movie Pulse. That movie to me is more glamorizing self-deletion or even villainizing self-deletion than Smile is. So that's just me personally. That's my opinion. I completely understand if you feel that way about this movie. I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you just don't think it's a good movie because you don't like what they chose to do here with that. So let's wrap this video up, shall we? So overall, Smile 2 for me is marginally better than the first one. I think this is a rare case where the second movie is a little bit more enjoyable to watch than the first one. And that could be, again, because the first one, I saw the entire damn thing in the trailer. So that could be why. But overall, I do definitely feel like this one is a lot more entertaining to watch. I don't know if it's the aspect of adding a musician, a singer-songwriter, a performer, a pop star, that really does it for me because I like that type of stuff, or if it's just a better written, better acted movie than the first one is. I definitely did feel better more for like Sky as far as like watching her plight go. Like I was watching her go through what she was going through, watching her her experience with this. Did I like her more than Rose? Not necessarily, but I definitely did feel like more for her. Um I just do really fully believe that there is a lot missing still. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of story that's missing, and we do need to get that in order to not understand what's going on, but to understand the lore and the world that we live in. And the last thing I will say, the ending of the movie sets up the possibility for a sequel. Because of course, for a third one, because of course it does. The way it does it, I will say this, it's interesting. And if they did decide to make a third Smile movie, it'd be really interesting to see how they're going to go about making the curse a bigger influence. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil the ending of the movie for you. But it'd be interesting to see how they're going to go about making the curse a bigger influence in the world. But I'll be completely honest. If we don't ever see that Smile Demon again, I would be okay with that. I'd be fine with that. I think that we've gotten two pretty good stories, and we don't need to have like a whole franchise of this. Some things don't need more. Like the first movie didn't really need this one. This one's great. I like this one. But we didn't need more of it. And if we don't really need a third one, are we going to get a third one? Who knows? Guess we'll see. But overall, it's a decent movie. I liked it. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 skulls. Um, I would recommend it. I mean, if you've seen the first one, definitely watch this one. If you haven't seen the first one, you can watch the first one and then watch this one. Um, but yeah, I'd recommend it. I think it was good. It was fine. You know, trust me, I've seen a lot worse this year. I've seen a lot worse, and some movies that I'm gonna get controversial in my end of the year recap. Trust me, and you guys are not gonna like what I have to say about certain movies. But I've seen a lot worse, and this movie definitely wasn't one of the worst that I've seen. It was it my favorite of this year? No, but it definitely was a decent watch. And you know, we need stuff that's easy to digest sometimes. So, yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Well done. Well done, Parker Finn, on a solid, tight sequel. Technically, the third in your Smile installment, because there is a YouTube video of this Smile Demon, a YouTube short. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up because I don't have anything else left to say about this movie. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. Some housekeeping stuff. Some housekeeping stuff. I have 2 videos left of 2024. I know originally I said I had 3. I was going to do a big recap video of all the movies I've watched in 2024 that came out in 2024 and which ones were my favorite, my least favorite. Was debating on possibly doing another tier list. Everybody seemed to like that tier list video when I did that. But the problem is, my most anticipated movie of this year comes out next week. Nosferatu. And I would hate myself if I did an end of the year video recapping all the movies I saw in 2024 and I did not include Nosferatu. So I have to wait till Nosferatu comes out. Because I've been waiting for this movie since January. I have literally, this is like, when I say this is my most anticipated horror movie, I think the only horror movie that I was anticipating more than this was Longlegs. I think that's the only other movie I was anticipating more than this was Longlegs. So I am super hype about this. I have not heard anything. I am trying to avoid any spoilers, any information. I don't want to hear any reviews. I don't want to know if people that have seen it No, I don't want to know anything. It comes out on Christmas Eve. I'm not going to be able to see it on Christmas Eve. Or not Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I'm not going to be able to see it on Christmas Day. Although I'm debating on possibly going to see it on Christmas Day. Just because I want to see it that badly. Like, I want to see this movie. Like, I've been waiting for so long. I might just take my butt. I might go have a double feature on Christmas Day. I might go see Wicked too, because I haven't seen Wicked either, and my theater kid ass needs to see Wicked. So I might do a double feature, watch Wicked and then Nosferatu. Nose for Wicked? Wicked Ratu? No, we're not gonna Barbenheimer this. But yeah, no, I'm going to definitely see Nosferatu, and then I will add it to my list. And next year, the beginning of next year, probably my first video of 2025 will be me going over every movie that came out in 2024 that I watched, like the movies that came out in 2024 that I watched, and rating them from my least favorite to my worst favorite, and kind of giving some reviews on each of them, but very small sectors. And I'm excited to see what I have to say about everything, because I honestly haven't planned anything for that. But that's going to be my first video next year. That was going to be my last video this year, but my last video this year is going to be just a regular review. I also have, hopefully, I'm teasing this now, and I know I'm going to hate myself for saying this in this video if it doesn't work out, but if it doesn't work out, just know that this is my intention for the content I want to bring to you in 2025. I might have my first ever gaming review video. There is a game, an indie horror game, psychological horror game. You might know what it is. It has been very popular for the last few months in the indie horror gaming sector. I have been obsessed with it. I have watched people play it. I've watched quite a few people play it. But with psychological horror games, I prefer to watch people play it first to determine whether I want to play it or not. And then I play it. It doesn't really ruin the story for me or ruin the impact. A good example of that is Doki Doki Literature Club was one of my favorite games that I had played, and I watched like 3 people play it before I actually sat down to play it myself. And it still freaked me out when I got to the part where I was stuck with Monica in the void, because I couldn't remember how to get rid of her, and I had to Google it. And I was there for like almost 20 minutes just staring at her like this. Now that's a smile that's scary. Monica just staring at you like, if you've never played Doki Doki Literature Club, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I believe it, I'm not sure if it's still up on Steam, but it was free on Steam. I believe it is free on Steam still. If you've never played it before, I would highly encourage you going and playing it. It is a horror game. It doesn't look like a horror game, but it's a horror game, and it is intense. And this game that I'm going to be playing, I'm going to just say it now because I've already posted it on Instagram and I posted on Threads, is a game called Mouthwashing, and I am so excited to play it. I'm not going to be doing like a gaming video where I'm playing and reacting to it, because since like I said, I've already watched other people play it and I've watched analysis videos. I'm going to play it and try to get my own footage of like the game itself instead of taking someone's footage off of YouTube. And even though I know I could give them credit, I would rather do it myself. And also it gives me a chance to experience the game firsthand. And I'm just going to record the whole game, play the game, record the whole game, and then chop up the footage and then do my full on analysis. It'll probably not be a face cam video for most of the video. You'll be just seeing my YouTube footage, my gaming footage. But I'm super excited about that because I've done gaming videos in the past. I used to do Sims videos. I've never done gaming videos for horror. So I'm excited to do this. I might leave my mic on so you guys can hear some of my reactions and throw them in there if I have any cool reactions to anything, but I'm not going to do face cam because I'm not doing the whole game. I'm just going to take parts of it. But I'm so excited to do a video about this, mostly because it's the first time I'm ever going to be covering a horror game on this channel, but also because I just love this game so much, and it is like occupied by every thought since I first watched someone play it. And I know it came out in September. There's like 8,000 videos on YouTube of people analyzing, psychoanalyzing, playing the game, deep diving into it. You've probably heard a million people already talk about mouthwashing, but you haven't heard me talk about mouthwashing. So when that does come out, I really hope that some of you guys actually watch the video, because I'm excited to do something like this, and it's opening the door for opportunities for me to maybe eventually veer into gaming content, because what you guys might not know about me is I love gaming. I am a freaking gamer. I just don't game as much because I don't have my console in here, and then I also do not have a gaming computer. Like, technically I do have a gaming laptop, but I just don't have a gaming computer. But it might veer into me making some gaming content in the future. Something fun, maybe something, and maybe, I don't have a Patreon now. I don't have a Patreon right now, but maybe if the video of me playing mouthwashing, like just my, like the video and my audio is entertaining enough, I might put it up on my website. If you guys remember, I said I have a blog, or I might put it on a Patreon. So, who knows? This is a new venture for me. It's going to be a big project for me in the beginning of 2025, but I'm super excited to do it. So, yeah, look forward to my end of the year recap video in the beginning of 2025, and then also my mouthwashing video in the beginning of 2025, which sounds really gross because it sounds like I'm just gonna be like doing mouthwash. Like, no, it's a game. It's a game, guys. But I'm so excited about this, and I could not wait to tell you. I already posted on, like I said, I posted on Instagram, I posted on Threads. It's out there. I'm super excited to do this. So yeah, that be it for housekeeping. We got one more video of 2024, and I'm going to be recording it in the same night, so you're going to see me in the same outfit, in the same look, in the same spot, because I want to get this done as quickly as possible so I can enjoy my holiday with my family and my friends. So, in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow me on any of my socials, you can follow me on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and for the time being, TikTok, because that's probably gonna be gone in a couple of weeks, let's be honest. Sucks, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and TikTok. I am at Creepy Critiques on all of it. You can find me there. I'm hoping in 2025 I will have the inspiration to post more and be more engaging with you guys. I also do have a website, a blog, which I'm also going to be posting more content on come 2025. Right now, there's only one post, which is my Halloween Horror Nights recap. Um, Enjoy that. And yeah, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, leave me a comment, and it lets me know that you enjoyed what you just watched. And thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you all in another creepy critique. Okay, well, I guess that's done. You guys can click off the video now. Okay.